We live? Yeah, we live.
We live. Welcome back to Eye Vortex.
Yeah, Third Eye Vortex.
Third Eye Vortex, episode 2.
Yep.
Welcome back, folks.
Today we're going to discuss The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli.
And
Fucking great.
this book has been something special for the past 2 years to me.
Absolutely.
And I remember that I sent you like a link to it, and I was like, read this book.
Yes.
You need to read this book.
Yeah.
And again, one of the huge reasons that I felt the need to like immediately tell you to, read it or, like get the information in,
Yeah.
was because back in college we watched A Bronx Tale
Absolutely.
plenty of times.
Yeah.
It wasn't like we watched it once. We
Yeah.
watched it a couple times.
And you said there's a scene in there where they pull a quote from.
Well, there's a
Niccolo
scene in
Machiavelli.
there where Sonny tells
See?
where Sonny tells C, or I think C's asking him, like, what is it more important to be feared or loved? And Sonny tells him, like, look, these guys, they respect me,
Mm-hmm.
or like, and they laugh at my jokes. He's like, but I know I'm not that funny,
Yeah.
like it's fear that keeps these guys in line.
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, I think he mentions earlier in the movie too that a lot of what he did while he was in prison, and I think C asks him as well, but he tells him a lot of what I did in prison was read. That was all I really, had in there, which is,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just, it's
There's power behind reading.
right.
I think-
I think it's symbolic for people in prison.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
you-
Fuck yeah.
Is it John Lewis? He just passed away. I think he was a senator for a long time. But he marched with Martin Luther King.
Oh, yeah.
And so he said that when he marched, right, and they were going to get arrested, he took 2 books in his backpack and an apple and an orange because he was like, no, we're not going to be, given food for a long time. But more than anything, I just want to have something to, read.
Yeah.
And that's incredible. I mean, my little cousin is in the can right now, and he's taking psychology classes, and I can only imagine that you have to be reading books while you're in there.
There
And
was nothing else to fucking do.
yeah, but if you think about it, that's all there is to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you're taking in that information, right? Does it matter if you're in prison or in a school library
No.
or at your house?
Mm-mm.
It doesn't. Realistically,
It just kind of forces you to take things into your own hands, and
right.
I think out here we're so hit with so many fucking things that we don't give ourselves time. We all have time to read.
Right.
We just choose not to fucking do it because
We're more distracted
we're
out
distracted. There's social media. There's fucking so much thing. You're working. You have family.
Yeah.
Girlfriend.
here. Things to take care
Yeah,
of.
exactly.
Yeah. It's crazy. I think I don't want to just like keep going further and further.
Wait,
about
so
tangents.
from you said that he was reading the book in prison. From
Yeah.
there, did you research which book he read, or like how'd you come across that line being from Prince?
In The Prince, there's a huge portion where he talks about, I think, Caesar de Borgia,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's two guys basically that came to power by means that were unethical
Yeah.
in his eyes, and one of them seeded all the shit that he was doing after he became prince. The other one just kind of continued to let his gluttony get the best of him, and just kind of kept bathing in his own glory. And
Fucked up.
ultimately somebody took him out.
Yeah.
But the way that Machiavelli was trying to explain it was, look, one of these guys did a bad thing, but then maintained the state because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the other one, right, did a bad thing to gain control of the state, and then continued to do bad things,
Yeah.
which only further, pissed off his people.
Well, yeah, and I think it's important because he talks about power of attaining power and keeping it, rather than just being. Because I think people have misconceptions about Machiavelli. They have this perception that he just wants people to fucking be dirty,
Right.
and fucking get their power
Right.
and be sturdy on it.
By any means necessary.
Exactly, but it's not necessarily like that. I think he's trying to show people that this is the type of mentality and type of game you need to play to keep up with the fucked up people.
Yeah. It's interesting because he's not like nowadays, bro. A lot of times we'll fall on, or we'll talk about something being idealistic,
Mm-hmm.
and he's very much so not idealistic at all. He doesn't give a fuck, which is hilarious because, truth be told, nobody lives in an idealistic world, but somehow we all have this little like thought in the back of our mind that we can somehow not only exist in this fucking idealistic world, but we can use idealistic, tools or predictions in order to get a real perception of what things are going to be like, which is just absolutely berserk. But again, it's so incredible and relieving almost to hear somebody talk about it in a very serious manner. And again, it's not like he condones the violence. I think that's what has tripped up a lot of people.
He's just recommending that if you want power, this is what you got to do.
Yeah. Well, again, it's a by any means necessary thing. Do you want to move up in the world? If you do, then you have to be a by any means necessary type of person.
And he's not telling you to be a bad person either. I think he's saying that like you're gonna have to have a type of game plan that can be misconstrued as bad.
Right.
But if ultimately if you do it and you do good things with your power, then you're still a fucking good person. It's just
right. Because nobody exists in a vacuum. It's not like your circumstance. It's not like your circumstances that you're presented in life don't affect the choices you make.
Yeah.
Right? And so, again, I'm very impressed with somebody finally just taking a very realistic view about it. And it's gruesome and graphic, but that's the world. He says, look, if you want to take over a place that's already established, you're probably going to have to kill the entire ruling family. Because if not, what's going to happen is the people will eventually back them up if they don't like your shit, you know? And it is true, you know? And it's violent, it's gruesome, and it doesn't sound right to most people, but...
And it's crazy because I think it was written, 1531? In the 1500s,
right.
16th century. And it's still relevant today. I think things change, but you can still apply it and adapt it to modern times.
Which was one of my questions for this whole thing was... Why do you think this book has survived the test of time? Why do people still believe it's so relevant today?
Because power is everything. We live in a society where power dictates money, food, everything. Our government,
it's limited. He says it's a limited resource.
Exactly. Right. And I think it's like energy where it doesn't go away. It's always going to be there and somebody's always going to have it. It doesn't fucking disappear. Power is going to be there no matter what.
It just shifts.
Exactly.
Okay.
And shifting is the thing that I think is important. What I wanted to bring up is because right now in our government, the bottom have no power.
Right.
And I think when I was reading this book, the whole time I was thinking, at first I was thinking this guy's a dickhead. Because it seems straight fucking like authoritarian and brute.
And cocky.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely cocky. He's just like, look, you just kill all these fucking people and
simple as that.
Yeah.
Right.
But after some time, I started to realize that you can't take it literally. You kind of have to think about it and debate with yourself and determine how you want to take that power and by what means you're willing to sacrifice. Because you have to sacrifice. You're going to have to sacrifice either your morals, your fucking life, or anything. You're going to have to sacrifice something. And I think what I took from it is right now with our government, we have to start a rising. And I like what he talks about when he says you have to group with people with like minds.
Right.
I don't remember what page it was, but he starts talking about teaming up with. He's talking about princes teaming up with other princes and with like minds and to take full power of a larger place.
Right.
And I think from the bottom we have to continue that shit and like come together and overcome it.
Right. I think our government is such a tricky situation right now.
Yeah.
Such a tricky situation. Because honest to God, at this point, everyone's too old for us to relate to them anymore, right? Like that AOC girl, and again, I'm so sad that I'm just going to be referring to her as AOC. But anyways, this fucking young woman is the only person that I see in Congress that looks to represent something of our generation.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone else is white-haired, looks like they're about to die, somehow being kept alive by fucking Western medication, and just disconnected as shit, bro. Again, I'm not like, it's not like I'm trying just to, talk shit. But these fools are pathetic in terms of like trying to run the government.
Yeah.
And
And
both sides. Like again, I hate everything that the Republican Party stands for, and pretty much all of what conservatives stand for.
Yeah. But Democrats are no better.
Yeah, and that's like the sad part is the reality is the DNC fucked Bernie Sanders, bro. And if the DNC had not fucked Bernie Sanders, bro, I wouldn't feel this negatively towards them.
Mm-hmm.
But they did, and their choice was Hillary Clinton. So
and now it's fucking Joe Biden.
And
bro.
yeah, so like,
so I think Bernie Sanders is a perfect example of failed grab of power.
Yeah,
he was not willing to sacrifice any morals or any. He wasn't willing to play the game, and which is all right because he's a fucking. It just shows that his morals are fucking stout. Right. I think he needed to learn to keep his morals, and play the game.
Yeah,
and he didn't do that.
Bro.
Because a lot of people were saying be a third party, and the third parties never work. But you could be the fucking person that sets the tone. I mean, he has Medicare for all in all our conversations now.
Right.
Where before it wasn't. And so his ideology is sticking with people. He just couldn't get the higher support.
You know what's funny? It seems to me like in the future it won't be as easy like what Donald Trump's doing right now, where it's like he just says whatever the fuck he wants and you can contradict whatever he said with what he said 5 years ago, and it doesn't matter. I don't think in the future it'll be okay. Because right now I think, his supporters for the most part, they don't give a fuck at all. And everyone, right, whoever's on the liberal side of these things just doesn't really, just cares so much, right? But the reality is that Bernie Sanders not having compromised would have been a good presidential run for 20 years in the future. And I don't know if in 4 years it would have already made sense. But in 20 years, I guarantee you, the internet's going to have so much influence on the presidential candidate that if their past is all fucked up like Donald Trump's, they won't have a chance. As opposed to right now, I think a lot of old people, they don't trust the internet anyways. And so you put up shit that Donald Trump himself from his profile put up years ago, and they'll still be like, absolutely, you guys need to find a better source because the internet is not a good source. Which is,
fake news.
Again, it's fine for a 40-year-old plus, but not for anyone who's 20 and knows what the internet is, right?
And vice versa, because I feel like young people rely too much on the internet. I think there's not enough vetting of information. I think false information, disinformation, misinformation, it's all over the internet. And I think as with time, though, we're learning how to cope with that, though. Like, I've been learning research skills and trying to find information that's fact-based rather than biased. And
well, you know what's... When I was younger, I used to watch television right when the commercial came on, and I relatively thought that the commercial was a real thing.
Yeah.
Right? And then, I asked my parents if I could buy something off the television, and they were like, that's fucking advertising, right?
Yeah.
And so when I understood advertising, I never was able to watch a television show the same because
you pick it apart almost, right?
Yeah, well, as soon as advertisements come on, it's like you clock out because that's not a real thing, right?
Yeah.
And so with the internet, we've gone through this period where a lot of people haven't understood that a lot of it is sponsored advertising kind of thing,
That's so fucking weird. And the algorithms are
fucking stupid. So if you start down the wrong path, you're now guaranteed to go down the wrong path and far.
That's the problem too, is we don't look enough at the other side of anything that we look at in any term. So if we're looking at Republican-based things and we're liking it, and the algorithms will feed you.
You'll never see liberal.
And then even if you so you wouldn't have that counter thought, and you need that. You need that critical thinking of like, okay, I believe in abortion, and you're not looking at it from the other side. You're not understanding like why people are anti-abortion, and so I think you need that in order to have a stronger belief. And we're not getting that. We're not looking for it.
Right.
And it's easy. It's easy to fucking keep feeding your beliefs. Like, if you're religious, you're not going to want to hear any other shit about God's not real.
Right.
Absolutely not. You're going to shut that shit down immediately.
Yeah.
Instead of
And you're just gonna ignore any like
Exactly.
counter evidence or whatever you want to call it, and you're just gonna call it all fake news.
That's why I think conversations are important. We don't talk enough with our peers about, like, I think it's bullshit that politics are not in everyday conversation. I think the fact that it's taboo, to me, feels like it's a fucking, that it was a systematic thing to
It was
keep
set
it
up
under.
that
Yeah,
way.
it was set up
Right,
that way.
yeah.
They don't want you to talk about politics.
Courtesy was set up so that you would never talk about
Courtesy.
politics. Kind of
Courtesy, bro. That's bullshit.
right.
That's power. That's Machiavelli powers.
Yeah.
That's him shutting down that belief before it gets any bigger.
Yeah.
And that I think that's where they fucked up with Bernie, bro. Because if he brought an idea that was for the people, and the fact that they even gave him a second of TV time, that's where they fucked up. Because now there's people like us where we're younger, we heard what he said and we like it,
Right.
and we're gonna run with that shit. That's
Right.
where AOC came from. AOC fucking
Exactly.
heard Bernie, and she fucking is exploding.
Yeah.
There's a fucking rise.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by Machiavelli's power, bro. We're from the bottom,
Right.
and you're fucking working to get to the top, and that's exactly what that movement is right there.
Right. And there's something about understanding the bottom when you're going up. It's almost like you've understood the other side of the conversation.
And we've talked about that before. Coming from the bottom and making it to the top, your build is, your foundation is so much fucking stronger than somebody who's been at the top all their lives.
Right.
Because as soon as they hit bottom,
As soon as they're threatened,
they
with
fucking
bottom.
collapse. Yeah, they
Yeah.
collapse. We talked about Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo
Right.
fucking from the bottom
Yeah.
came up and fucking became a fucking champion.
Right.
He got into his own head with McGregor. We talked about him being a fucking false alpha.
Right.
And
Or it's just, like,
yeah,
it's just, I think of it like a wrapped present. McGregor is the most neatly wrapped present under the tree. It's
And-
not to say that's the best gift under the tree. It's just the most neat.
and he's a fucking savage. I'm not gonna lie. He can fight. He's a fucking
Yeah.
great fighter.
Right.
But I think where Aldo came from and where he's at, his foundation is so much stronger. I think his mental game maybe was a little off,
Right.
which is okay. I think that might be the biggest weakness of people coming from the bottom is mentality.
Mentality is
Yeah.
the fear that you belong
To the
to
bottom.
the bottoms.
Yeah, and for the top, as soon as they get threatened, they revert to that. But if they even get an inch knocked down, bro, they're fucking done. And that's the problem. If we're from the bottom, you make it to the top. If you get knocked to the bottom again, it's like,
Welcome home.
yeah, welcome home. I'm fucking here.
Right.
And I don't know, man. I think that's what's happening in our government right now.
Yeah.
I think, and I'm telling you, when I was listening to fucking The Prince on audiobook, that's all I kept thinking about. I was like, this is our fucking movement. Young people, working people are fucking hitting a point where we're fed up and the power needs to shift.
Right. Yeah,
And-
our
and
government is outdated. Like,
Oh, fuck
everybody
yeah, dude.
knows
It's
that.
so fucking outdated.
I think like I think like old people just hate to admit that younger people could potentially like offer up a better solution.
Yeah.
Like I think that burns so hot in their core, right? And it's not like a, oh, we're smarter than your generation, so that's why. No, it's just we probably have had more exposure to different parts of history that we've
Absolutely.
felt are more important, or different parts of politics that we've felt are important. We got to right? But in our lifetimes, 9/11 happened. A war happened because of it, right? I think, or multiple wars have happened because of it.
And we're still there.
So many more people have died as a result of, right? And Americans. I'm not talking just, the Afghanis or the Iranians
Which
that have
a
been
lot of
murdered.
them died have been
But,
innocent.
I mean, more have died
It's
than
fucking
Americans,
ridiculous.
and that's like a no-brainer. But we've still sent Americans over there to die to support capitalism in the Middle East. Now, whether you believe that it was necessary or not, I think you have to understand that maybe there were better ways to go about it.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that's what a lot of, again, we've lived through it.
Yeah.
And other people lived through different wars that meant different things. Vietnam fucked people up. It really fucked with the country's, level of morality. hey, are we even supposed to be over there? Are our American soldiers supposed to be dying over there?
And
where are these caskets coming from? Why are they dying? What were they defending abroad that was so important that you have to send them back in body bags?
democracy.
And what I just think, like, in the 70s, it had to be more difficult to get access to internet.
Absolutely.
And it had to be more difficult to read all of these things that we've read about now that do affect the way that the future should be planned, I guess you could say. And I don't know, I don't want to seem like the cocky young guy that thinks he has it all figured out and we could fucking fix everything with one swing of the sword, but I just think maybe if the government were to maybe accept that a young person might just know a piece of what's going on. Because it's a puzzle. We all have a piece to add to it, and once we have it together, then we can see the full picture. But if we can't admit that young people have a view on the world that might just help out, then what are we going to do? We're just going to ignore the younger generations until it's their turn. And then we're going to be so...
closed-minded government. It's a closed-minded government, because as soon as young people say anything, they shut them down. I mean, AOC is a politician, and as soon as she says something, they're just communists, socialists.
Right.
And then that instantly cuts that fucking...
And she's clueless because she just doesn't know where that money's supposed to come from.
That type of McCarthyism bullshit, bro, is what gets us stuck in our same fucking ways, and it doesn't allow us to fucking progress with time. I think that's the fucking thing that we need. We need to fucking develop with time. I think we've been stuck in...
You live in the corpse of your dead father.
And then we have these originalists. I mean, you heard about Amy Barrett, the one who just got approved to the Supreme Court?
Right.
I trip out, bro, because she's an originalist. And so back then when the Constitution was made, women weren't able to work.
Okay.
So I think she is a hypocritical originalist. Because if she was originalist and she wanted the ideas back what they were, then it would have been a fucked up place for her. Right. She wouldn't have had the position she had.
Right.
So I just think they pick and choose what they want from the Constitution. They pick and choose what they want from the past.
It reminds me of Mennonites. Have you ever heard of a Mennonite?
Yeah, I have.
It's like
Amish almost.
They're Amish, but they use vans.
Yeah.
Because a van is a very convenient thing. A vehicle is a very convenient thing. So they pick and choose and say, all right, we're not going to advance in society, but what we are going to do is use your car.
Yeah.
Because it's a very useful tool.
Yeah.
And so they just pick and choose what they don't want to accept about society. Which, again,
it's your belief. Yeah,
it's your right. I'm not saying they're wrong. But how can you be an originalist and you're a lawyer? You weren't allowed to be a lawyer. You were allowed to sew.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's obviously that she doesn't have those beliefs, or else she wouldn't have had that position.
Right.
So I just think she, like, the ideology
she doesn't understand what she is.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just what people around in your group are telling you. If you're sitting around a group of people telling you these things and you eat it up and you just fucking shit it back out.
Yeah.
That's how the fucking digestive system works.
You can process plastic, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. And plastic is what it is. Yeah, bro. So Machiavelli was onto some shit, bro. I think... So I was researching him a little bit, and so he used to write satirical plays, bro. And when I was reading that, it was actually earlier today. I was just looking him up, and that made me think of the book in a satirical way. And I very much see a different message too. I very much see like him basically fucking with the people in power. Because I also read that when he wrote this book, was right after he got kicked out of a high position from the court. Okay. He had a high position, he lost it because of something that happened at the top. And then he wrote this piece, be Prince trying to get into a position of power.
Right.
And I was reading it, and I was thinking, I was like, he did this as a fucking fuck you to all the fucking systems. And he was just like, I'm going to let it be known that this is power, and this is the fucked up shit that you guys have to do to get it. And you guys all did that shit.
Right.
And I think he just fucking
Almost called them all out on their history.
he fucked the system, yeah. And he didn't get a position of power, and I think he knew he wasn't going to. I think he was just trying to prove a point. He's like, fuck you guys. You guys are fucking dickheads, and I'm gonna let it be known.
Right.
He kind of lost because I mean we use Machiavelli as a fucking demon term now, but
Yeah.
I think he was a genius in swords, bro. I think he's up there with fucking Aristotle and
Right.
fucking all those philosophical thinkers because his ideology was past his time era.
It was what I was thinking earlier today about it, is that it has pieces of philosophy and psychology intertwined within the entire book.
Yeah.
I would say that's roughly what Machiavelli is an expert on, for the most part, the philosophy and the psychology of, the princedom, what he considered, that level of power. And so it was,
I think you're right too with psychology in the psychology aspects because I think he was trying to provoke conversation and debate. Because I think he was bringing ideas out that were either shut down or never even thought of. And so now we're thinking of it and we're taking the goods and the bads from it and debating on the idea of power. How do you get power? What is power? How do you stay in power? And so we start debating and start seeing the value of it.
Is it justified?
Yeah, is it justified?
Is it even justified
Because if
to pursue power or to attempt to,
If you get power through the dirtiest of ways, will you do good with that power? Is it justified?
That's the theory, right?
I don't know. Like, how bad did you fuck people over?
Right. How many bad things did you have to do and how many good things came of it?
And then the idea of good and bad. What the fuck's good, what's bad? Because
Right.
what's good for me might be bad for you.
Right.
And I think
For the state, I think that's like a big piece of the book is
for
just
the
like,
state.
for the state, is are you doing things for you or are you doing things for the state?
Yeah.
Because you could do bad things for other people that are still for the good of the state.
Yeah.
But vice versa, you could also do bad things that are also bad for the state.
I think it's also perception because I remember reading a section where he talks about in order to stay in power, you have to have you have to have everything, right? And the people at the bottom want things. And so what you do is you grab fucking crumbs and you sprinkle it to them. And to them, they're like, fuck yeah, we're getting something. And that's what I think about right fucking now, bro. The stimulus check, 1,200 is a lot to me. And I was like, fuck yeah.
Crumbs.
It's fucking crumbs. And I was appeased. It worked.
Yeah.
I thought about it afterwards and I was like, 1,200.
Bro, I'm still waiting on my $1,200.
You still haven't got it? I don't know. We're gonna end this shit. Go get that shit right now.
Some booty. Anyway.
Yeah, but yeah, so like that's you're keeping the bottom appeased through crumbs. In all reality, you're like, look how much I'm giving you. Look how good of a leader I am.
Right.
And you're not giving them shit.
Right.
And that's power. That's how you keep power. Now, how would you do that morally? Because obviously you have to do something like that to keep power.
Right.
Because if I give you everything, I have nothing. I've been trying to think if I was a leader, and we're from the bottom, we rise to the top. But now you want to make sure that you stay in power so that the bottom stays up.
Right.
There's a new bottom, and you have to keep them appeased. Because there's always a bottom. There's
right.
always going to be a bottom.
That's how it works. That's how nature works.
Yeah.
You know what's weird is I was just thinking right now, because I don't know, have you ever heard of Marcus Aurelius?
Oh, fuck. You do have his book.
So I think Marcus Aurelius, there was a point in Roman history where everyone got sick, where it was like a plague kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I think he had children die, like a couple, if I'm not mistaken. I may be botching this, it may be somebody else.
Yeah.
But
History.
if I do remember this correctly, he sold all of his possessions. He sold all of his possessions and anything that the royal court owned that was worth a damn thing in order to pay for food and medication and care for the people. And that's the stark opposite of what we're talking about here,
Yeah.
right? But I'm wondering right now if that's extremely incorrect, or if it's
in
not.
terms of power, right?
Well, yeah, because Marcus Aurelius is remembered, as one of the greatest
Absolutely.
humans of all time.
I can't remember the name of the book, but I have his book, and
I think it's is it the Meditations?
The Meditations, exactly. The words that he speaks is very fucking. It's like poetic, but it's philosophical, and it just puts you in a fucking weird mind space.
I think if I'm not mistaken, that was supposed to be like his private journal. And if I'm not mistaken, I think after Life it was published.
Man,
And the level of ability in someone who never thought of even publishing something, right? But anyways, he lived a starkly different ideal than what Machiavelli was presenting, right?
absolutely.
And I guess one of the things that I've wondered is, or one of the things that I've started to notice is that with the advent of the internet, right, and with everything being out there, it's kind of difficult for you to bullshit your way through things. Like, fake it till you make it doesn't quite work anymore because people can just look you up.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you have a 30-0 record? Like, okay, well, let's look it up. Who did he fight? Or
like voting record, like Biden voting for the Iraq War.
Amy
Amy
Cohen, right? Like, we can
that.
look up all of her fucking history and be like, wow, she's never even tried a certain case. Like, it just becomes oh, right. But, again, I think that as more of a in the future thing. Yeah. Like, I think one of the cool things about Joe Rogan is that you can look back to 2009 to see how he felt and how he believed in things, right? And I think that's what modern day is going to be like. We're going to know so much about these people that, if you're actually a shit person, it'd be pretty easy to tell.
Yeah. And I think most of us are shit people too.
Right. Well, at some point you just can't judge people that fucking intensely because nobody's perfect, including yourself. And we all know that. Like, that'll be where we're at. And I guess I'm just interested in how much longer is Machiavellian power going to be
relevant?
Not, because again, I think what he had in philosophy and psychology were ahead of the time, but also, I don't want to say ahead of today's time, but at the bare minimum, like, we're talking about it, bro. We're trying to figure out what's good in this book, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Marcus Aurelius said the complete opposite, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know if he died poor. I'm not positive. And I don't know if Machiavelli died poor.
And I think it comes back to perception again, because for power, like, Machiavelli's idea of power was literal fucking control.
Right.
Aurelius was more of a calmness. I don't know. I remember we talked about in the last podcast about, like, what I wanted in my idea of success was the idea of just being calm, having a family, and just
that level of peace.
Yeah, peace. And maybe to him and I, that's power. Because you do have control. You have control over your own life.
Right. And how much you don't let the things around you affect.
Yeah.
That's up to you.
But then it goes back to what is power. Power is, I guess, whatever you want it to be, but then in some respects it's not, right? Because,
well, so if you have to go to work in order to feed yourself, like, you lack that power in order to feed yourself, and you have to go submit a certain amount of hours to somebody else in order to get fed, right?
That means we all lose to nature then.
Yeah, well, at some point, dude, like, we all have a level of, like, we can't control everything.
Absolutely not.
And, like, sooner you figure that out, the, like, more calm you're going to be about things.
Yeah.
And power is this interesting thing, right? Because some people believe that you can't control it at all. And, Machiavelli brings up the idea that you could actually probably control the majority of it if you're willing.
Especially by his means. It was brutal. I mean, you're fucking, you want power, you're going to go take it. Right. Dominate. It's almost like sports. I think we all have that competitive animalistic nature to fucking be on top.
Right. But you know what? There is also that level of, if this person is 6'8" and can run faster than you and jump higher than you,
Break his legs.
right? Well, again, like
Yeah.
you might have to think of another way
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
win that game. So yeah, if you're a fucking winner, winners fucking find out how to win a game regardless of what their opponents, like present.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that, like, if I'm playing one-on-one with this guy, I'm 5'8", 5'9",
Yeah.
If this was 6'8", one-on-one in basketball, I'm probably going to lose most times. Yeah, could I hit him in the nuts to try to steal the ball one time? Yeah, probably, but reality is 9 times out of 10 this fucker's going to win.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm wondering, or I'm like thinking of this Stoic philosophy and this Machiavellian philosophy, and I'm thinking about not like what's the like stronger power. I'm trying to figure out if it's like relevant, if it's relevant right now, because
Which power is more relevant?
Yeah, because Marcus Aurelius did something really noble in a time when he wasn't gonna be praised for it. And again, I don't think that's necessarily what he was after.
Yeah.
But I think today he'd be treated differently. If I don't know, bro, he would have been treated as a Bernie Sanders. We fucking loved that guy.
Yeah.
He was for the people.
I mean, and like how you're saying too, how we know his past. We've seen videos of him fucking protesting, and
Right.
because it is out there.
Right. It's too easy to see it now.
And Machiavelli, nobody could appreciate that until now, where we have that. We have those facts and those historical stories.
And we can look back on it.
Yeah.
And he's this incredible historical figure, right?
And it depends on who you ask, because I think we definitely have a more aligned view. But if you ask somebody else, they would have seen that as stupid. You gave everything you had for what?
Yeah. In
It
reality,
becomes logical versus emotional versus so many things that fucking astray here, bro. It's just
it's funny, man.
we don't know.
The balance between your emotional side and your rational side is different for everybody.
Absolutely.
And the fucked up part is that we all seem to think that somehow everyone in the world will fall close enough within that middle for us to be able to stand on common ground.
Yeah.
And I mean, truth be told, that's probably not going to be all the way it, bro. Like, you can get along with people about some things too, but as soon as you start talking about things that are really challenging, like, it starts to get weird, man. And I understand that, dude. Like, I don't think I can have conversations with people with MAGA hats. I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't want to. Like, I really, really would rather
I think
ignore
we
that
need
person
to,
in my life.
But I get you, because
in my life, I have more peace if I just ignore those humans.
Absolutely.
And again, like,
absolutely, that piece is gonna be there. Mm-hmm. I think there's something to be gained though. And
true.
here's
No,
the
there
thing.
is.
You will talk to someone and you're not gonna get through to them, and that's fine. Mm-hmm. You can be like, all right, well that was a lost cause conversation. Mm-hmm. But then every now and then you get somebody who's it makes a little bit more sense. There's people who like Trump for his economic shit.
right.
And they're like, I don't necessarily like everything he says, but his economics is right, or abortion, wherever the fuck they lie in. Mm-hmm. And you can have a conversation, and at the end of the day, you're probably still not going to agree. But you can gain a little insight and just be like, okay, I still fucking think that it's bullshit that you believe that abortion is illegal, but you send people to war. But I understand why you're in that respect. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think with that understanding, we play the game better. And again, this is all a game.
Yeah.
Life is a game. Love is a game. Fucking, we're just playing a game to win. Mm-hmm. And the more you know about the person you're playing against, the easier it is for you to win. If you know this guy's plays, you can beat him. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know his ideology. You know what the fuck he wants next.
If you know what the Dodgers are going to pitch next, you're going to be fine.
Hey,
go in the box. Change-up's coming, bro.
Fuck you, Astros. 2020 World Series champs.
Damn.
No, but absolutely. I think that's where it lies.
Congratulations to the Dodgers 2020 and Gervonta Davis for that hideous knockout last night.
That uppercut, Jesus Christ.
I didn't see the goddamn fight.
I watched the highlight.
I heard the fucking fight was a hell of a show anyways, but Congratulations on that shot. That uppercut was.
Leo
fucking-
Santa Cruz is not no pushover either, man.
Yeah, man. That guy's a champion, and he's just a little lighter. But
That uppercut.
congratulations. I don't want to be offensive, but I'd really appreciate if African American fighters stopped wearing the Mexican flag, though.
Did he wear a Mexican flag?
No, he wore the like robe out
Oh.
and the shorts and the shoes.
Mayweather did something similar when
Yeah.
he fought
Yeah.
Golden Boy. But he,
I'm not
he
even-
did it very
it's not-
disrespectfully.
Right.
He danced around the hat and like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not even saying that it offended me or that I was even irked by it. I just know that if we were to wear Zulu costumes
Yeah. it would
out
be
to the
hard.
ring, it would be a terrible show, and it would be a terrible fucking thing for black and brown pride.
Yeah. I think if
With
we
that
did
being
come
said-
to grounds where it was okay, I'd be fine with it because I find no offense to it. If you want
Right.
to rep my culture, fuck yeah, do it.
Mhm.
I'm definitely not a what is it called when you appropriate? I don't give a fuck as long as it's with respect.
Okay.
That's my biggest thing. If you show my culture respect, that's it. And I respect the fuck out of everyone else's culture. I love fucking everything. We go to different countries and fucking see the culture, and there's beauty in every culture.
Yeah.
But my problem is when anybody comes disrespectfully to anybody's culture.
When anybody comes with
Yeah.
disrespect anywhere.
To anybody's culture, not even just mine, I get angry.
Yeah.
But yeah. Put that out there.
Yeah, just a quick little.
Hell of a knockout. Yeah, dude. It's crazy, man.
I think it'll be interesting, man. I think the future. I think again with the advent of the internet and with being able to have everything online, it is going to change things. And I'm not surprised that Donald Trump's followers don't care that everything he says is bullshit, and he's said the opposite years ago. They don't give a fuck. It's fine.
That
But-
shit makes no sense to me, bro.
It makes perfect sense to me, bro. Have you ever seen a Trump supporter talk? Have you ever heard them talk?
I've seen videos. Yeah.
They don't give a fuck about anything, bro, other than whatever it is that's important. To
I
them.
don't
And if
understand
that's
how
money
you can be
and-
so head and toe over somebody's words like that, though, because he will literally contradict himself in the same sentence, and people are like, "Yep, fuck
Genius.
yeah."
Yeah. You don't understand him because he's too smart. It's like Kanye.
Yeah, you talk too much politics. Oh, dude. Speaking of Kanye,
Oh, God.
so I only watched a snippet.
Of the Joe Rogan interview, bro.
Dude, I have a plan to watch the entire thing.
Good.
But I seen a section, bro, where Joe Rogan is like, "What do you do about Turkey situation? What do you do about all these foreign policy things, bro?"
Right.
And Kanye sits there, opens his mouth to speak, closes it.
Just says a
does
prayer. Was that when he does a prayer?
Bro,
I
what
just-
the fuck?
I just did a prayer right there,
And you
just
know
so
what-
y'all know.
You know what's the more fucked up part?
Yeah.
Kanye, he's doing his thing.
Oh, he's gonna take the millennial vote from.
People are
Biden.
gonna vote for him.
Yeah.
People
No,
are
I'm
gonna vote for him.
and here's the thing is, I know people are all like, "Oh my God, please don't vote for Kanye." I'm sitting here, bro. Like, look, whoever's gonna vote for Kanye is gonna vote for Kanye. You're not gonna be able to convince them otherwise.
I think that's a worse. In my
Don't vote
opinion,
for
in
Kanye.
my political opinion, I think that's a worse vote than Trump. Because this guy knows absolutely nothing.
bro, I don't it is literally just the system that we live in. Somehow this two-party system works so fucking great for rich people
I hate
that
that
there's
shit,
no reason to change it, bro. No reason. The people voted Gore. Who gives a fuck? We
Yeah.
voted Bush. The people voted, Bernie Sanders. Who gives a fuck? We voted Hillary Clinton. The people voted Hillary Clinton. Who gives a fuck? We voted Trump. And the truth of the matter is, well, what about us? Who cares? Is what the rich people are truly saying, bro.
There's some great fucking political people out there. Are you familiar with Nina Turner?
No.
So she was campaigning for Bernie Sanders, and her ideology is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
She is fucking amazing, and I heard she has plans to run in 2024, and she would have my vote like no motherfucking other.
Right.
Because
You realize how stupid that is, though, bro? There's people that could be
a great
amazing
leader,
presidential
Yeah,
front
absolutely.
runners.
and they don't even get considered.
But instead, Hillary Clinton, Biden. Oh, all
jeez,
right.
bro.
Fuck. All right. Okay. Sure. Fine. Fine, Biden. Let's fucking go with Biden.
This dude
Let's
fucking-
all just get behind
This
Biden.
dude molested his campaign manager.
What?
Tara Reid, you ever heard about that?
No,
Bro,
bro.
look up-
No, you serious?
Look up Tara Reid, and it got brought out beginning of this year, and you didn't even hear about it. Isn't that funny?
Hell no, I didn't hear about it.
Now when Trump said grab
Biden
by the
raped
pussy,
somebody? Bro.
I think he stuck his fingers in it, which is still rape.
Biden. Well, hold up though.
He
I'm still not past this. Biden raped somebody,
and
Ever
nobody's
hear that?
talking about it. Nobody's talking about it. And you know what's funny is the same fucking.
He's
people-
running against the devil, bro. That's why. And now again, I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh yeah, Biden is a good person. Biden raped somebody, bro. I didn't even know that about this fucker.
And he wrote the 1994 crime bill, which predominantly
Oh,
affected
yeah.
black and brown people.
Yeah, I've definitely heard him talk about.
So
that.
I voted.
About super predators. Fuck you, Hillary.
Oh my fucking god, bro! I didn't vote for him. I know that it's gonna piss a fuck ton of people off. I did not vote for Biden. I voted for Howie Hawkins' Green Party.
I'm curious what California's electoral college is going to be like. Because again, in my humble opinion, it seems like Kanye being on the ballot for any state is reason enough to pretend and fake the ballot information for it to seem like Donald Trump won, half of the vote, and Biden and Kanye split the rest.
Isn't
And the reason I say so is because I don't believe the elections are real. I don't and here's the thing, people are going to be upset about this too. My parents are from Mexico, bro. Mexico's, I don't know if it's the most corrupt it's the most corrupt place I've ever researched, like, with effort, because I've gone into it and been like, all right, how fucking corrupt is Mexico actually?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's pretty fucking bad, right? The problem is that everybody knows it, So everybody knows it, and you just, again, it seems like it's a similar problem as here. You can't fucking do anything about it. You're just gonna have to vote for that one or that one. It doesn't fucking matter, right? The fucking difference is here in the United States, everyone seems to think that it's real. We don't believe that the elections are bullshit. We don't believe that an electoral college voter can just vote for whoever the fuck they want, regardless of what all of the people in their district say. We tend to believe that.
I think they really do count our vote, but I see what you mean because the electoral college basically.
Even if they count our vote, I'm trying to tell you,
it doesn't mean shit.
Matter.
It doesn't mean shit.
But that's why in my perspective, I kind of giggle because it's like, yeah, it's also a 100% completely corrupt system that, you just kind of have to participate or else, and the difference is that here in the United States, people truly believe in democracy and or not even democracy, bro, like, you ever say that shit to a Republican? They're like, it's a republic. Yeah, bro. That's not a good fucking thing, bro. Have you seen our politicians? Half of them are morons. The other half are almost dead.
Fucking on the hinge of dying.
Oh, my God. Anyways, all I'm fucking trying to say is it doesn't work. And it's full of shit. Yeah. And so, again, Kanye running for president, in my eyes, is just an easy way to pretend that he got enough votes to steal the vote away from Biden. Yeah. He doesn't even need to get it. And so I'm curious, again, how's California going to react? There's a lot of millennials in California. I think a lot of them are going to vote for, Kanye. And you know what, bro? Kanye's not even running for president in California. He couldn't get on the ballot as a presidential. So he's a vice president. Yeah. With, under Rocky something, bro.
He's ran in several states.
Bro, fuck Rock. Like, let me tell you something. He's supposed to be like a Mexican-American born in San Diego. Bro, I guarantee you that fool and his entire family is tied the fuck up with the cartels. Yeah. You don't just make that much fucking money, bro, and you don't just start running for every single cabinet seat in the United States if somebody isn't paying you a good amount of money to do that shit, bro.
He definitely tied to the cartel. It's a fucking fact.
I don't hate him. I don't dislike the guy. I just looked his name up when I was like, who is Kanye running under? Kanye is running under the cartel's fucking candidate. And I'm not saying that like he's actually going to win any kind of... But he is a fucking member of the House. and so are his children, bro.
Yeah,
and they
that's
run
what-
anywhere, bro. I'll run in Texas. I'll run in Cali. I'll run in Alaska. If you can give me a house on the fucking, or a seat in the house, I'll fucking run, bro.
Me
and
and
again,
Lionel looked that shit up too, bro. His kids and brothers are running in every fucking state, and like they're all losing.
but
So-
it doesn't matter, bro,
yeah,
because when they do win, now they're a house
Yeah.
member, bro. Like,
and then they're just gonna get each other in it. It's fucking very much a community-based system.
yeah. But again, like the way I'm looking at it, man, if you fucking, if any of you Republicans really want some hardcore nasty shit, bro, look that fucker up. Look that fucker up and try to find out if all of his children haven't ran in multiple fucking states to just get multiple votes in the House of Congress.
Yeah.
And if you don't think that a cartel is willing to pay a motherfucker a lot of money to run, then you're fucking in out of here. You don't even understand what the cartels are.
Good luck having a cartel member as a leader
Oh
too, bro.
my
'cause
God. Bro.
that shit, like,
And it's funny, bro, because realistically, in my mind, this is only going to make it worse. There's not going to be a Mexican president ever if the first Mexican politician
Is-
you ever
is
hear about
Rocky.
is the cartel's fucking homeboy. Like, it's just not going to happen. Nobody's going to trust us, bro. And it's like, why? Because Rocky decided to run for fucking Kanye. Just to take the millennial vote away from Biden. I'm done talking about this, bro. I don't want to talk about the election anymore.
I got one more thing to add before we end this.
Nah, go ahead. Please.
I find it really odd that Kanye is a huge Trump supporter,
Yeah.
and he decided to run I mean, it was definitely planned, I feel.
Yeah, bro. It's,
And I don't understand how. I mean, that right there is hypocritical. I mean, as a person of color,
yeah.
supporting Trump, it just makes no logical sense. I'm Mexican. If I voted for Trump, does that make sense to you? My parents got here illegally.
Bro,
Does that make fucking sense
so,
to you?
you know what trips me out? Have you ever seen like the polling percentages where they're like 17% of Latinos voted for Trump? I'm like, who in the fuck is this 17? And what I'm like, I'll like realize it and not want to admit it, but it's the fuckers that live in Texas that have
Goddamn Tejano.
they just really don't believe they're Mexican anymore, you know? And the way my mom says it is you have the fucking eagle
Cubans,
tattooed
too.
on your forehead, right, in Florida.
Yeah.
That's the other one. But like the way my mom says, those people have the
The
nopal tattooed on their forehead, bro, and they can't figure out that they're Mexican.
Yeah.
And so, whenever you see that, bro, 20% voted for Trump, just know they're not people of color anymore. They're just white people that have a little bit of melanin. Bro.
Yep.
That's what they are.
And that's another thing is identity politics is a big fucking mistake. Because I know for a fact, everyone who voted for Hillary, they were not okay with her, with a lot of shit that she did.
Right, they didn't like her.
But she was a woman. And I understand a woman does need a position of power. I think the right woman, a woman with...
What an idea.
Because then it's bullshit. I mean...
It's the same thing as this art, right? Ruth Gator is being replaced by a woman in power who doesn't care for women.
And if you don't like her, you're a sexist.
And if you don't like her, you're a sexist because we need to have a woman in power.
Yeah.
Fair.
Absolute bullshit, bro. That's where we're at, though, man. And like, same thing with Biden and Kamala Harris literally put a fuck ton of people in jail for smoking weed. I'm not okay with that.
Right.
She's a woman of color. Great. I want a woman of color to be in power.
Not her.
Why her?
Right.
There's Nina Turner. Nina Turner has a fucking clean record. Okay,
She's so clean, the politicians can't buy her, bro.
She doesn't have enough.
Bernie was so clean, the politicians couldn't buy him. Hillary.
Doesn't make sense to me, man. Yeah. We want somebody who's fucking corrupt as shit. And
Who we got on the payroll? Hillary? Let's roll with it.
but and you know what's funny is I actually voted for her. I didn't know too much about politics. My sister really wanted me to vote for her, and I did. I regret the vote.
Bro, this election, right? Both me and my brother weren't really gonna vote.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my sister was
Not even on the measures. Some of the measures were pretty good, man.
not even on the measures. Well, so here's my problem, even with measures now, is what do they mean? What do they truly mean?
Yeah, no,
Because
that's a good point. But
and I'll bring one of them up that is just like has just been ringing around in my head, right? Because it should be blatantly obvious.
the prisoners should fucking vote after they serve their term.
Not even just that, bro. Because yeah, that one's
That shit
one's
pisses me off. That's not even a. I think prisoners in prison should vote. Like, I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, you want child molesters to vote? Are they part of our fucking country?" Yes, then I want them to fucking vote.
Right. I mean, look,
Their vote should not. What they vote shouldn't, like, fucking raping a child is not on the ballot. That's not the fucking point. The point is that every single person should be able to fucking vote.
right. Even though the one bro, like 17-year-olds voting in like in an election
No fucking brainer.
that they will, right. But again, let me tell you the one that I'm most focused on.
Stem cell.
No, not even that one, bro. Right. One of the ones where they say it's taxing on large corporations or large properties.
Over $3 million in value, correct?
Maybe, I'm not positive.
Yeah.
But I read it, right? And I was like, oh, easy as fuck. The rich people are going to get taxed. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I was like, that's the easiest one to vote on. Boom. Yes, tax the rich people. And then we get, hundreds of fucking cards, vote yes on this, vote no on this. And we get them for, like, every single proposition has, at my house, there's a card for why you should vote yes and why you should vote no.
Yeah,
and you can read them, bro, and they both just contradict each other.
Yeah.
And you can look it up, and you won't be
it.
able to find something that'll change your contradiction. And I'm sitting there like, how am I supposed to vote on something, bro, when I literally can't figure out which side I'm voting for? Because that one, it seems like, yeah, we're just going to tax the rich people, right? And what the fucking paper said is all these rich people are going to do is pass the taxes on down to us. And I was sitting there like, I've never been in a situation where a rich person didn't get charged something and didn't just pass it on.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there like, oh my God, bro, like, I was wrong. I was going to vote for something that I thought was clear cut.
Yeah, I fucked up on something too,
And
the
I was-
privacy one.
Dude, I guess what I'm like trying to like get at is I felt like I was going to be wrong regardless of what I wrote on the paper. I felt like what I wrote on the paper, no matter what, was not going to represent what I wanted to represent in my political, level of power.
And can we get a new person to write the fucking questions on those measures, bro? Do they purposely make that shit the most complicated motherfucking shit ever?
Yeah, bro.
It's like, vote no if you mean yes.
That's what I'm saying, bro. It's like it.
I thought it was.
And
Really...
1984 talked about it too, bro. There was gonna be doublespeak. They were gonna say, yeah, you shouldn't not go down to that. Like that's how people who are rich, who can't get the vote by putting the truth out there.
Yeah.
That's how they get votes. And like at some point you just have to think that voting isn't the right way to establish change. I truly do believe that. When I was in college, bro, I really did think that, maybe, just maybe, the political environment was the place to enact change. Mm-hmm. And then I completely flipped, and I thought, I saw this one graph where they said, look, if the top 10% of your country wants to do something, there's a 30% chance that it passes. So it's 1/3, right? But if the bottom 90% of your society wants to do something, right? Basically everyone, there's also only a 30% chance of it passing. It's the same way whether you're the richest people in the United States or the poorest people. Everyone has the exact same amount of probability to affect the United States. That's wild, bro. That means that if you had 100 people in a room, 10 people had just as much power as 90.
Yeah.
The exact same amount. And is that good? I don't know.
I think it's our system. Because I'm still a believer that politics is the way to create the change in that. And
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying
absolutely.
Right.
It's a conversation.
Yeah.
But I think it's a system. I think it's where we're at. I think you're right. I think our voting is maybe not, because I don't know. I don't want to say it's the wrong method because I don't know if there is a right one. But I do believe that we need to do something politically in order to make massive change. And I hear you because I do believe that that 10%, that 1% has so much, has more. I would say that they have a higher probability. I mean, I don't know the statistics.
Again, yeah, I just remember seeing the graph,
Yeah,
bro,
absolutely.
and it's been years, and it's stuck in my mind, bro. And I'm telling you, I saw it when I was no more than 19.
Yeah.
Been at least 5 years, and that graph still rings true in my head. But continue, please.
Yeah. So it's just, I think systematically, a change has to be made, and I don't see any other way that doesn't include violence. And
Yeah.
and
It's gotten interesting too, bro, because with this election,
it's
become evident that it's not gonna be a peaceful
and that's in 2 days.
change
Man.
of power. Yeah,
That's in 2 days. I think we're in for an interesting. Yeah, our next podcast we will definitely be reverting back to politics for sure.
All right.
Because it's definitely going to be a conversation.
Yeah.
Because I know for a fact, no matter who wins,
it's gonna be an
it's gonna be
it's gonna be an interesting 6 months, bro.
I mean, we're in the middle of a pandemic. We're in the middle of a civil war. We're still in another country. We're in the middle of a war. We're in an ideological war. We're in fucking war.
Where's the stock market, bro? Because let me tell you something. There's this funny dude that I follow, and he's hilarious, right? But he brought up the fact that I think it's like 87% of presidents whose stock market rises in the last 3 months end up presidents, and 87% of the incumbents who, right?
That's easy. It's the lobbyists and the funders know exactly who's gonna win.
Right.
Because they are the fucking most important thing. And, like I know stock market is a good place to invest in, but I get fucking heated when politicians use that as a sign of economic success.
Oh yeah.
Because it doesn't
that's
represent the
ridiculous, bro.
fucking bottom.
It represents the 10%.
Exactly, and that shit fucking gets me heated. Like when Trump's like, "Oh, fucking, I help the economy. Look at the stock market."
Right.
Motherfucker, the stock market doesn't mean I'm still getting paid minimum wage in a place where cost of living is fucking ridiculous.
This is also the most convenient time, probably in the history of the stock market, to take credit for the stock market. Like the whole world is in shambles, and the stock market is at an unreal evaluation. The entire thing.
After a crash too.
Exactly.
Which is ridiculous.
And so again, like right now is like, you know what, Mr. Trump? If anything, I congratulate you on the timing of claiming that the market is all you're doing. Because that's incredible.
I don't know if you're familiar with this, but the people who profited off the pandemic is very weird because they talked about Trump downplayed coronavirus and restricted masks, and so that he basically gave investors time and told them where things were going to explode. And Dr. Fauci was a part of it too. Fuck that guy as well. Right. He purposely lied to the people and said that masks don't work. And I know you can look at it. It's a fucking fact. He said masks don't work, and then he comes back a month later and says masks do work. It always worked.
Right.
And the reason for this, he said the reason why he lied was because that the masks needed to go to doctors and nurses.
All right.
Okay, motherfucker. So you lied to the fucking people and said something didn't work, and you're starting this whole fucking thing, and people are running with it, and people need to realize that lying is not the way. You need to hit the truth and be like, look, masks protect the fuck out of you, but let's go about it this way to where doctors and nurses can still get their masks that they need.
It's too idealistic, man. It wouldn't have worked.
I think it could have. I mean, people make their own cloth masks. I mean, there's ways.
That is true.
There's ways. I think they were thinking, they probably thought the same thing. They're like, oh, you have to be realistic. We're not gonna fucking be able to supply all these masks. You don't got a fucking brain? Are you fucking kidding me? You can't think of something? You're a fucking politician. You're getting paid. How much do politicians get paid? A fuck ton.
Yeah, bro, they make a good amount.
They get paid a fuck ton to not think.
Yeah, bro. I'm not with it.
Yeah, I mean, politics.
Personally, I don't want to be a politician. I don't want to be a police officer. You know, there are just certain things in my life that, because of my lack of respect for the, Yeah, it's difficult to say you have lack of respect for police officers, huh? But the truth is, these fuckers ride around with a gun and then talk about, I'm afraid. I can't even carry a gun in California. I'm scared as shit of police officers, bro.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
No, so
you can't just be like deathly scared of people who are technically supposed to be protecting your society. That's just wrong.
And I'm at conflicts too because I am definitely I do not like police officers, and I know that there's good people that are police officers, but
Right.
I can't.
I would
can't
recommend.
fathom it.
I would recommend if you're a good police officer,
Quit your
to
fucking
quit
job.
your job. Yeah, and that's like I know people are just gonna be like, oh, you're a piece of shit.
Who's gonna police the world? And
Only Republicans, bro, because then we'll be able to fucking. No, I'm not even gonna get into any of it. None of it.
we'll say
I am not political.
Politics is a realm.
Politics is a game that I don't like to play.
Because we always lose. It's like going to the casino, right?
Nobody wins.
You go to the
Except
casino
for the house.
and you're like, I'm gonna fucking win. And you go and you're like, I fucking lost. And then you come back the next day, I'm gonna fucking win. And you know what? You're gonna win that day, and then you're gonna be like, oh, I won.
Y'all motherfuckers gonna keep voting. It's not like in the next 4 years you're not gonna vote. It's
Yeah,
not
absolutely
like
not. I voted.
It's not like the next time, bro, that they put out a butt cheek sandwich and a douchebag. You're not gonna vote for one of them because it's part of your party. It is what it is.
Oh my god, that's another thing, bro. Is the people who vote for their party no matter what. That's the same thing with identity politics. The same thing. If this is a woman, I'm voting for her. It's just not the right way. I think that they're on the right path, but they took a fucking wrong turn. I think, yes, you need people of color. Yes, you need women. You need a diversity in your political realm. The problem is who you're fucking putting.
That's another fucking proposition that's on the ballot is should we
Diversity,
should we reverse affirmative action?
Oh wait, did it say reverse?
If I'm not mistaken, I think what my sister told me about it, and again, I don't know if this is fucking true. This is what I was able to extract from this goddamn question. All right,
Who the fuck wrote that shit?
Right? Like what I was able to get from it is that right now you can't discriminate based on somebody's race. You like if somebody comes in, right? Let's say you're Alpha Phi, right? And there's only white people in your fucking sorority, right? Or company for that matter, right?
Yeah.
There's only white people in your company, right? And you tell those people, right, who apply for your company, who are not white, you tell them, oh, we weren't able to accept you because, your qualifications or your, the blah, da, 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 da. But it's because they're fucking of color, Now, you have to say something other than, it's because you're black or it's because you're Mexican that we don't want to let you in, right?
So they'll just find other reasons.
So they'll bullshit up some other reason, right? And I think, if I'm not mistaken, what the proposition says is you no longer have to put up a bullshit reason as to why you're not giving this person a job. You can just say, it's because you're black, bro. I don't want you in our, we don't want you in our sorority because you're black. We don't want you in our company because you're Mexican. We don't, I don't know if that's actually how it fucking is written.
Yes.
I don't know if that's what the proposition says. That's what I was able to fucking interpret.
And that's the problem, because I've read it and I thought it was gonna be more along the lines of affirmative action. And I'm a fan of affirmative action. I think that they should always be considered
Identity politics.
Exactly, and that's the fucking problem.
Yeah.
And I think about it because we got into Santa Barbara.
Right.
We weren't necessarily the best students, but we got in because we were Mexican. I believe that wholeheartedly.
And the year we got in, bro, UCSB got a
Hispanic,
huge grant because 25% of its population was Hispanic.
Which is where we're at right now, Santa Barbara, by the way.
Shout out to Breezy.
Yeah, but so we got into this school on a Hail Mary because of who we were. And I appreciated the fuck out of it, because I wouldn't have been, if I didn't come to this school, where the fuck I'd be right now? I'd be in the military. That was, and out of high school, I mean, now I look back and I'm so happy because I'm anti-war. But at that time, I was stuck in a place where fucking dead broke, shitty situation at home, and I just wanted to get out. And it was either school, military. And UCSB accepted me, and that was my choice. But just as easily, UCSB could have not had affirmative action, and I would have been in the Marines. I was already nearly signed up. and
you're grateful for it.
I'm grateful for it, and because of that, I think it should be continued. I see where people come from, where they say, oh, well, if they're more qualified, blah 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 blah.
Right.
The problem is that you're fucking not considering anyone else.
Yeah.
And that's a fucking problem.
Right.
Because we are predominantly white in this nation, and guess who has all the fucking power? Not predominantly white, it's all fucking white.
Right.
And so a change has to be done. And I think so from what I got from that measure was that it was gonna promote affirmative action. But if it's opposite, I think I fucked up because I voted yes.
I don't know.
It's difficult, and that's the fucking problem. Is I think they make it difficult on purpose.
For those of you who live abroad, you can't really vote without not knowing what the hell you're voting for.
And if you have an idea that the U.S. is fucking great,
or if you think that we're fucking retarded and we can't figure shit out, there are too many barriers in front of us for us to prove to you that we're not stupid. A lot of us are stupid. A lot of us are very stupid, but not all of us. And I swear to you, if it was literally just up to people to vote, I have enough confidence in people to say, you know what, more people would have voted, because you're not voting for an electoral voter, you're voting for the fucking president, or you're voting for, and again, if you were able to fucking simplify these fucking things down, right, and you could genuinely predict how these things will affect people in the future, that'll be great. But that's not how shit works. And fuck, man.
Could we talk about how the Electoral College itself is definitely a Machiavellian power move?
Oh yeah,
because it's the idea
obvious.
Of it's like, hey, you can
crumbs.
Vote. You can vote.
Yeah, here's the crumbs, bro.
I mean, Hillary losing, I fucking hate Hillary, whatever, but she won the majority.
Yeah.
The people spoke and said, we like Hillary. And Electoral College was like,
we like Trump.
But that's
the rich
not how
people
this
like
system works.
Trump. Yeah.
That's not exactly how this works.
And bro, the other day I saw too, I think I don't know how many states, but they combine here. I have it. I'll fucking find
Young
it.
Jamie, can you pull that up?
Young Jamie, real quick, because this is some bullshit. Check this shit out, bro. Okay, so 39 million people live in California, roughly.
Yes.
Right? We have 2 senators in the Senate. Not in the House. The House is representative based on how much your population is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's 2 per...
But the Senate is more powerful than the House.
Yes.
The Senate can block certain things. The House doesn't even have a fucking option of.
Yeah.
Right? In the Senate, California has 2 voters for 39 million people. Also, for 39 million people, Connecticut, Utah, Iowa, Nevada, Arkansas, Mississippi, Kansas, New Mexico, Nebraska, West Virginia, Idaho, Hawaii, New Hampshire, Maine, Montana, Rhode Island, Delaware, South Dakota, North Dakota, Alaska, Vermont, and Wyoming. All 22 of these states also have 2 senators. And all of these 22 states have the exact same number of population in them as California does. If that doesn't seem like a way to prevent real people from having a say, then I don't know what does. Because again, the Senate is more powerful than the House. Why hasn't California been split into 4 states?
And the funny part is
it's huge, but you would have to give another 8 electoral college votes in the area. You don't want to do that.
And
because California's mostly liberal.
Most of the states are red too.
Yeah, the fucked up part about is there are Republicans in California whose voice is never heard.
Yeah.
They're never heard.
Yeah, they should.
Every single year they vote for Donald Trump and
Lancaster.
Mitt Romney, and they just fucking cannot for the life of them get one goddamn electoral college vote out of California. It all goes to the Democrat. Yeah. And again, I'm liberal, so it really has never fucking bugged me. But if I was a Republican, that would bug the fucking shit out of me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's a lot of Republicans in California.
There's a fuck ton.
And you know what? There's other states, bro, that even do it better than California. Yeah. They literally say, you know what? If half the vote goes to that side, half the vote goes to that side, we're gonna split our electoral college votes so that it's representative of our people.
Which is the right way to do it.
And again, I'm more liberal than I am conservative, but that's the way it should be in California.
Yeah.
Because there are fucking conservatives in California who deserve a fucking voice. If I was a Republican in California, bro, I would never vote, ever.
There'd be no point.
There would be zero fucking point. You know? But, again, like, it's just, it really is impressive to me that California's 39 million people are represented by 2 senators.
And the funny part is, speaking on that, if you look, the majority of the states in the United States are red Republican voting. The problem is that the population in those states are very small.
Right.
And so you get California, New York, very liberal. Pennsylvania is a swing state.
It's crazy when you live around more people, you accept more people. Huh?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Well, I think you have to. Let's talk about this.
Other people hate you when you aren't
around.
Well, no, like, I'm thinking of, like if you're an asshole, right, and you move somewhere, and you're just an asshole to all the people around you, they're not going to like you.
Yeah.
Let's say you move somewhere, and you're only an asshole to 2 of the people because, well, they're the people that you don't like, right? Like, your other friends, who are maybe not assholes, might not like you because of how you treat those people.
Yeah.
And so if you are an asshole, you just don't ever think of moving to those cities because then people would know you're an asshole and treat you as such, you know? And you'd rather just, you know, live in your small town with the people that are all exactly the fucking same, you know, and you never have to, you know,
deal with other people because you're just like, I'm an asshole.
You never have to deal with differences, bro. Change is difficult as fuck, you know? Like, I don't know. Me personally, again, I was raised in a different situation. But, I don't know, the other day I saw something where they were like, oh, Jennifer Lawrence just stopped being a Republican because of Trump. And I was like, and people were like, laughing because they were like, she was on the Hunger Games, bro. All vibes. No critical thought, just all vibes. But the reality is, yeah, she grew up in like some fucking hick-ass state. What the fuck was she supposed to believe? And then she grew up and started acting with other people, but it's not to say that like any like of her real, or not her real, but like any of her sentiments of like, you know, those places came out when she was acting with black people, right?
Yeah.
And so it wasn't necessarily like a crazy thing, but then people were like, oh, she was a fucking Republican? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, bro. All these people that grow up with Republican parents are Republicans up until they start to learn about the world, and then they're like, ah.
Some of them I believe sometimes too.
Some of them even will continue their whole lives in their
some of them will change it, but not actually believe the change. It's just like,
oh,
if you're around people
yeah.
of color and you come with some stupid shit like that, you're gonna get checked by someone.
Right.
So
a lot of them just kind of keep it to
If I walk into
themselves,
fucking Kansas and I'm like fucking, fuck yeah, Hillary, guess what? I'm gonna get checked.
Which is funny because that's what I've liked most about Trump's presidency is being able to see so many people out themselves as what I consider racist. And I don't care what
absolutely.
I don't care what people are going to say, oh, just because you vote for Trump doesn't mean you're racist. I don't care. In my eyes, yes, you are. If you voted for Trump, you're a fucking racist. Yeah. Anyways, so it's been really easy for me to see how much of the population is still they're racist, but they don't speak on any of it. They don't act on much of it because it's all internal. They remember it from when their parents told them, and they believe it deep down in their subconscious. But out when they're with the world, they realize how badly they would get criticized for speaking those true thoughts.
Speaking of that, I think that's a completely different topic, but I think our cells and our bodies remember the past of our ancestors, and that's why I'm a huge believer in with black people in the slave trade, and that they're still feeling the effects. Like us, we have indigenous roots. We still feel the effects of all the shit that's happened to our people and colonialization, and so I think that it sticks with you. And I think the same idea with white people is the power, the feelings towards these other races and people. It's rooted in them. Yeah. It can change. You can definitely change, but
and again, the sense of superiority, bro. Like, you realize how easy it is to feed somebody's ego into thinking that they're superior.
Yeah.
Forget the color thing. You could convince somebody that they're superior to somebody of their own race.
Oh,
and they would find themselves a higher being than in their mind, right?
Yeah.
And
which is like Mexicans who vote for Trump.
Exactly.
It's like fucking. You know what I found out the other day, bro? That tripped me the fuck out.
Masvidal's voting for Trump?
No, fuck, I was mad at that too.
Go ahead.
Fucking Masvidal. Cesar Chavez did not like immigrants.
Oh, right. Julio Cesar. Or not. Cesar
Cesar,
Chavez,
yeah.
the California immigrant worker. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he thought it, like, he messed things up for the California Mexicans.
Isn't that fucking interesting?
Yeah, bro.
That's like me. Look, okay. My mom was born in Mexico,
Right.
immigrated here,
Yeah.
and had me.
Right.
Now, if I was like,
Fuck immigrants.
fuck immigrants,
Yeah. How
fucking ridiculous is that?
Right.
And to hear that, I was just like, don't get me wrong, Cesar Chavez did some fucking amazing things for farmers and workers' rights.
But it was hypocritical without him knowing.
Exactly. No, I think he fucking knew. I think he knew. But it just goes back to the thing where it's just like, everyone's going to have these ideologies and it's not going to be perfect in everyone's mind. I mean, Martin Luther King cheated on his wife, or he did something along those lines, and so it's just like,
I think the older you get too, bro, your perspective on everything changes. What you did as a 20 to 30-year-old is not who you are anymore.
you think we can change like that? I've always been a firm believer that people, to the core, don't change. I think the outer parts change. I think you could change some of but your core fucking of who you are, I just feel like it's unchangeable. I could be wrong. I mean, it's all fucking.
Again,
it's all conversation.
I don't know. I think when I was younger, I believed that it wasn't possible. And then I got to a point where I started thinking that it was. And I wish I had something that I could compare it to.
Yeah.
To try to like give a metaphor of how I kind of think of it. But have you ever mixed something into like water and it changes the color and you can't go back to the previous color?
Yeah. Okay.
Now, if you check the liquid, you'll find that, you know, whatever it is that you started, well, let's say you start with a glass of water, right? And then you put a spoonful of Kool-Aid in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now it's like red or pink. And how do you get back to clear water? You have to distill it. You have to go through a fucking process.
Osmosis.
Right.
Shit.
In order to, if you truly want to separate the two ingredients, right? That doesn't change the fact that the Kool-Aid isn't water. Right?
Yeah.
The Kool-Aid is going to be 90-some% water. And so I think humans can change, but I think for the most part,
we're still who we are.
Yeah, I think for the most part, what we are is created, I would say before we're like 8 years old. I want to say maybe like, I don't want to like make random predictions, like random guesses, but I guess what I'm trying to say is like, I think people change and they don't even have a possibility to go backwards sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you see somebody get shot point blank range, you're not going to be the same person as you were before you saw that shit. But you're still the person that, you know, that existed before that.
Yeah.
Now you've just been
altered.
affected. Yeah, now you've just been affected in a heavy gravity kind of sense. But
yeah, that makes sense. I think about it in terms of, so like if you grew up and all your life your parents and your family and your friends telling you to hate a certain race, and then but then you hit a certain age and you have friends of different races, and then you're like, oh, my thing is that like, yeah, you're probably not a racist anymore, but I think it's always on the back of your head, you know, you have a certain predisposition of people, and you just like,
yeah,
and you may not act on it, and you're like, oh, and you
but
might be disappointed in yourself.
Your brain.
Yeah, you might be disappointed in yourself, but it's fucking there.
Right.
And that's what I'm trying to get at, like, because I do agree.
Right. No, but I do see what you're saying now.
Yeah.
Though, is because I don't want to put this in a weird way. Because I do think it's possible for you to have something in your mind that you no longer believe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it's possible for you to remember things maybe that you believed in the past that you know are incorrect. Right?
Yeah.
But I also do believe there's a part of, like, there's maybe like a human act of confronting your subconscious. And people do it differently. I think some people dream, right? Some people can
Yeah.
literally dream and go
send messages
right.
themselves.
Other people, maybe meditation, right? Like I'm not gonna say that I know all the forms that people can encounter. That
I mean, talking to yourself is one I talk to myself all the time.
I think daydreaming, I think, is another one that, like, literally just trying to envision your way through those things that you thought or the actions kind of thing, right? And so I think it is possible, maybe, for a human to begin to dissolve an idea in their head. But I think beginning to dissolve and completely dissolving is completely different. Completely dissolving, you have to put a lot of effort into it. We talked about that with the mixing the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
It's a process. You're gonna have to maybe boil the water. You're gonna get it all into steam form so you can put it somewhere else and wait for all of the fucking Kool-Aid to be still in the pot that you're boiling or whatever. And so I'm thinking about that. If your parents instilled incorrect thoughts in you, and I think we all have. I'm not just saying now like all conservatives, like we all, because nobody's parents were perfect.
Yeah, absolutely not.
And so if everybody was raised with certain incorrect thoughts, there's a level of knowing that it was wrong, right, which is beginning to dissolve it, and then there's attacking it consistently in order to genuinely be able to get to a place where you not only know that's not wrong, but you know and act on the feeling that it's wrong, right? So, like, you don't treat people, as subhumans to you because of something that your parents may have said to you, And again, I like using that example just because it's like easy, but again, I think that relates to far more than just, like colorism. I think the ego is more like, we don't talk about it. We don't talk about how the ego makes you feel superior to every human that you meet in your entire life until they prove you otherwise. If somebody's smarter than you when they're talking, suddenly you're like, all right, maybe you're smarter than me.
We definitely have a pride, and it's also competitiveness. That you walk up to someone, you size them up, you do whatever.
Yeah.
And that's all. I think it always reverts back to like tribalism and us versus them.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter where you are, like we're Mexican, and I feel like there's a connection, and so you always it's always like us versus them.
We fucking,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but like, and that's what I'm trying to get at is it's in there. Can we acknowledge it? Yes. Are you gonna act on like actively? I don't know. Because just earlier fucking today, I mentioned like Gervonta.
Yeah.
Please don't wear those colors again.
Yeah.
Why not? I don't know. I can't for the life of me figure it out truly.
Yeah.
But it is there. It's in the back of my head. And so,
it's just being honest. It's not fucking
right. I'm not trying to say that like he's a piece of shit for having done it.
Yeah.
It irked me.
Yeah. And you can't really explain it.
Yeah. And again, it irked me because I know that Floyd Mayweather did it in a disrespectful way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, but he's his fucking protege. You know, like. So.
Yeah. And
so I don't know, bro.
I think because I mean, growing up, my brothers had problems with black community and fucking, and so like I think that it's a similar thing.
You fucking lived in a fucking place, bro. It's not like you were in. Yeah, Canberra had never had any issues with the white kids, bro.
And what's funny is I never grew up with white people.
Yeah.
And so I always had to like, I always thought of white people as this fucking like, and you put them on a pedestal because, especially because I didn't live with them. Mm-hmm. My community was predominantly 50-50 black and Mexican, or black and Latino.
Right.
And so like white people I had on this fucking thing, and when I met them in person, it was very much so like, oh, these dudes are fucking pricks. Like, right. And again, that's also like a.
I think where we were too, bro, is like even more so prick than we would have if we were somewhere else.
That's true. But
go ahead, yeah, continue.
And so like for you,
shout out S Breezy.
S Breezy. And same thing for you. You grew up in a community where it was mostly white people and some Latinos. Mm-hmm. And so you weren't exposed to any other communities, and so you just, and it isn't until you interact with different communities where you realize that
they're just people.
We're all fucking people. And but naturally, when I see white people,
you already know that they're different than you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I have this resentment, and I acknowledge it, and I try to stop it, but it's there. Mm-hmm. It's fucking there. Right. Same thing with police officers. If I get pulled over, scared, pissed, so many emotions where it's just like, are you fucking kidding me? And I don't think that's ever gonna go away. I can fucking train myself to to react differently, but the feeling's always gonna be there.
Right.
And I think for a white person who was once racist and then is not anymore,
Right.
I don't think those feelings ever leave. It's stuck.
And again, I'm like sitting here realizing how much I don't want some of these feelings to leave, and I'm just sitting here giggling about these MAGA fucks don't want to change.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely.
They want to be racist until they die, bro. Like, and again, the shit, man. To each their own.
Step below KKK.
Yeah, if you want to be, you know, a MAGA until you die, that's totally fine.
Get the fuck away from me.
You're probably not gonna have a place in the future. Like, if I were you, I'd probably like tell your kids that, you know, I'd probably like, hey man, look, I was wrong, but it was too late for me. If I were you, I would be different. But I know that that's not how MAGA fucks are, you know. So
it's crazy, bro.
It's funny, man.
It's funny how times change too. Because you know, I was thinking the other day is I see you know, back in the day, it was really disrespectful to wear the American flag as anything or anything. Yeah. And then you see these fucking dudes who have MAGA hats and they're a fucking thong of the American flag, and it's just like, do you realize?
I think
your grandfather would have probably fucking beat your ass for that. Like, like it doesn't make no fucking sense.
I think it's illegal even, bro. But
yeah,
that's not.
I mean, not here or there, but yeah.
Yeah, man, it's a trip.
This is where we're at.
Yeah.
This is where we're at, ladies and gentlemen.
Is that gonna be it, man?
Yeah, I think this is a wrap. That's an hour and a half. Wow, some good time. So, The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli. Highly recommend, right?
Yeah, man. I honestly like. It's similar to the 48 Laws of Power in the sense that if you don't like it when somebody talks about, you know, real things that happen in real life, but they're like genuine things that happen to people and happen in certain situations. If you don't like that book, you're not gonna like this book. Yeah. If you don't
like our discussion, because the way we talk about things, we're honest and we talk about our own flaws, and like you were talking about the Gervonta Davis thing, like that's honest conversation. It's not fucking. I'm gonna tell you something that I actually don't believe or something. It's right. You're telling the fucking, and that's what this book is doing. Is like, look, I don't necessarily want it to be like this, but this is power. If you want it, this is how the fuck you get it.
Right. And if you think that other people aren't going to use these methods because you found them,
fucking,
you're sadly mistaken.
Yeah. Because there are people that use these methods of power, right? And it's going to continue like that. And I think it's better for us to know how to counter it and use it for good. I mean, what the fuck is good, anyways? But that's a different fucking point. The point is, if you want your ideology to be passed forward, then you're going to have to get power.
Knowledge makes a man unfit to be a slave.
Absolutely. And with that, that is the Third Eye Vortex.
Catch us next time for we don't know.
That'll be discussed. Let's see how the fuck I pause this shit, bro.
West Side, bitch.